Imagine this. It's the Ice Age. The world is covered in glaciers, mammoths are casually stomping around, and you, a brave time traveler, are trying to make it to the next prehistoric Starbucks. Suddenly, you hear a bone chilling growl. You turn around, and there it is, the worst creature to run into during the Ice Age. Spoiler alert, it's not a woolly mammoth or some giant bird. Nope, it's a creature so terrifying, so perfectly engineered for murder, that even the dinosaurs might have sent a thank you card for missing out. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Smilodon, or as I like to call it, nature's biggest middle finger to anything with a pulse. Now you might be thinking, what's so bad about a big kitty? Cats are adorable. The Smilodon isn't your average house cat. Smilodon is what happens when evolution hits the buff stats button too many times and forgets to press undo. It's the original gym bro of the Ice Age, and unlike your lazy tabby that just sits on your laptop, this guy's hobbies included leaping on creatures twice its size, using its teeth like steak knives, and possibly intimidating direwolves into handing over their lunch money. But let's break this down scientifically, because behind every terrifying predator is a series of jaw-dropping adaptations that made it the reigning champion of prehistoric murder. First off, let's talk about size. The largest Smilodon species, Smilodon populator, a name that literally translates to he who brings devastation, weighed up to 1,000 pounds. For context, that's like strapping two full-grown lions together and giving them knives for teeth. These cats weren't just big, they were built like heavyweight wrestlers, with short, stocky limbs and muscles on top of muscles. And don't even get me started on their weapons. The Smilodon's saber teeth were a solid 8 inches long, which is way above average. These canines were razor sharp, designed to puncture flesh like a hot knife through mammoth butter. But here's the catch. They were also fragile. Like, don't use them to open pickle jars, fragile. So how did Smilodon hunt without snapping its prized sabers? By being extra. Well, picture this. Smilodon spots a tasty prehistoric bison. Instead of politely asking for a bite, it crouches low, creeping closer like a cat stalking a laser pointer. Then, with its freakishly powerful hind legs, it launches itself at the bison like an Ice Age missile, latching on with claws the size of kitchen knives. And those claws, twice the size of a Siberian tiger's. They weren't just for scratching posts. They were for holding down 2,000-pound animals that probably regretted all their life choices at that moment. Once the bison was immobilized, Smilodon would open its jaw a shocking 120 degrees, because why not, and sink its saber teeth into the poor thing's throat or belly. It was quick, it was efficient, and it was the prehistoric equivalent of the Mortal Kombat finish him move. But Smilodon wasn't just up against herbivores. Oh no. The Ice Age was a straight-up survival reality show, and Smilodon had to deal with some serious competition. Enter the American lion and direwolves. The American lion was a supersized version of the lions we know today, weighing up to 1,200 pounds. Meanwhile, direwolves rolled deep in packs like a prehistoric gang, with the numbers to overwhelm even the most fearsome predator. And yet, Smilodon wasn't fazed. Why? Because it had something these other predators didn't. Pure, unfiltered intimidation. You see, when your teeth look like two swords sticking out of your face, you don't have to fight as often. Isotopic studies suggest that direwolves and Smilodon often competed for the same prey, but instead of a brawl, direwolves would often just back off. It's like when you're at a buffet and someone way bigger than you reaches for the last slice of pizza. You don't argue, you let them have it. Now let's pause the whole Smilodon versus direwolves and lions situation, because we need to talk about another potential rival, short-faced bears. These weren't your average, hey look, there's a bear kind of bears. Oh no, these guys were the bodybuilders of the bear family. They could weigh up to 2,000 pounds. That's the size of a small car, or a very large refrigerator. Imagine trying to compete for food with something that could probably crush a car with its bare paws. Now, you might be wondering, well, if Smilodon is a fast, agile apex predator, why wouldn't it just avoid the bear and go for easier prey? You'd think that, right? But the thing about short faced bears is that they weren't just big, they were also surprisingly omnivorous, meaning they didn't just hunt animals, they ate plants, fruits, and basically anything they could get their paws on. So, while Smilodon was off doing its most fearsome, I'm gonna take down a mammoth with my teeth routine, the bear was out there chowing down on berries, maybe even raiding a nice Ice Age picnic. The competition wasn't just about size and strength, it was about whose stomach could handle the variety of snacks available in the Ice Age buffet. But here's the kicker. While Smilodon had an impressive set of claws, short-faced bears could take down prey just by, well, looking at them funny. Their sheer bulk and muscle mass gave them an advantage in terms of overpowering most of the competition, and the fact that they lived a more solitary lifestyle meant there was less risk of them teaming up in packs to take down big game. Now let's talk about Smilodon's social life. Scientists are still debating whether these cats were lone hunters or pack animals. On the one hand, Smilodon fossils from the La Brea tar pits in California suggest they might have hunted in groups. Why? Because these tar pits acted like predator traps. One unlucky bison would get stuck, and suddenly it's a prehistoric dinner bell. Multiple Smilodon fossils found in the same pit hint that they may have responded to distress calls as a group. But here's where it gets juicy. Some fossils show evidence of injuries that would have been fatal without some kind of care. Imagine a Smilodon with a broken leg surviving long enough to heal. Did other Smilodons bring it food? Was there prehistoric kitty Medicare? We don't know, but the idea of Smilodon playing nurse is both heartwarming and hilarious. So, was Smilodon the worst creature to run into during the Ice Age? Absolutely. Between its ridiculous size, absurdly long teeth, and the fact that it could casually leap onto animals twice its weight, Smilodon was a nightmare on four legs. It wasn't just a predator, it was the predator. And while it's a little sad that we'll never get to see one in action, maybe that's for the best, because let's face it, if Smilodon were still around, none of us would feel safe walking through the woods. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you're ever time traveling through the Ice Age, bring a spear, a snack, and maybe a teleportation device, because trust me, you do not want to meet Smilodon in the wild. Until next time, stay curious, and stay out of the tar pits.